green to get racing underway. It is going to be Nicholas Nielsen then that makes the best start as they accelerate downhill for the first time, with Mauro Engel there almost being squeezed off the road as he tried to get through. There's another car getting a little bit crossed up, and that looked like Marvin Kirchhofer in the background. They climbed the hill for the first time up Radion. So far so good. It's busy in the mid-pack. The Mercedes have got themselves together with Honka there jumping ahead of Engel. There's Arjun Maini in the Mustang also trying to gain ground in a straight line with all of that power from the Ford Mustang, but it's Nicholas Nielsen leading then as the cars go up towards Les Cons for the first time. It is the first race lap. It is effectively lap 2 of the race itself, given that extra formation lap, but it is Ferrari that leads at Spa.
Great driving from all so far. I was surprised Danny Junquier in the Verstappen.com car was so far behind the car, and that really hurt him. Engel got the best start, but Shandov cut him across. I think there was a slight bit of contact between those two, and Audi going through the gravel trap on the exit of Le Cons. If that's the biggest drama we get on the first lap, we've done well.
Yeah, so far so good. Keep that phrase in mind as they come downhill from Pouhon. There's a car going through the gravel at Speaker's Corner, and everybody seems to be happy with the start from race control's point of view as we dive now down through Pouhon. Everybody going for the same bit of track position, knowing that in a race like this you just can't afford to lag back for a second. Never mind all this about looking after tyres. And there's drama in the background, and it's an Aston and an Audi that get together. 34 Valkenhorst, it's a Trezor Attento car, and mayhem has broken out. 3 cars, 4 cars involved, and we may get more. It was the Audi that ran wide of Pouhon and came across the road. That was 66 in the hands of Ariel Levy. The car that won that crash-strewn race at Monza has crashed on the first lap. I think it has taken 34 Jamie Day with it, and there were others involved. This is going to be a safety car, surely.
Yeah, it's got to be. I think I saw a come to you. Aston as well caught up in that high speed on the exit of Pouhon. Cars will be doing 220 kilometres an hour. You can see the Valkenhurst Aston Martin get a bit of air underneath it, and then was okay. And everyone did well to avoid using the runoff area to navigate past all the strewn cars.
So up to the end of the first racing lap, safety car confirmed then on the effectively first racing lap, but it's lap 2, we go safety car, and as the field comes out of the chicane, Nicholas Nielsen leading Tom Fleming, then it is Ferrari from McLaren, but there in the middle in the black shirt with the headset on is Niels Vitic, the race director, his army of officials around him looking at the pictures, looking at the replays, looking at who was involved, looking at what might also need to be done, like barrier repairs, like extraction cars. All of that is going to be controlled from there. We'll soon start to see who we've lost. We know Ariel Levy was involved, also Jamie Day, and I think Christian Hahn's BMW, Maxime Robin's Aston maybe.
Yeah, I think the 992 Paradine BMW got taken out as well.
Yeah,
checked up. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, so that one was unfortunate. It just looked like to me the Audi and the Valkenhurst Aston that got together, both were running wide on the exit of Pouhon. It's dusty out there. They lost grip and they then came together and rather spectacularly caught up quite a few people behind them.
Yeah, I thought Levy had gone wide, and as he came across got tangled up with the Valkenhorst car, but we'll have a replay as soon as we know everyone is safe and sound. Into the pits limps Jamie Day. Wow. So that's the Valkenhorst car. Look, he's got it this far. That's the result after that sort of a clash. The fact that it's still moving and they can assess the damage rather than it being out of the race, that's a win almost.
Yeah, and under safety car they could stay a lap on the lead lap if they can just put a tyre on it. And sometimes we see teams do that. They get the car in a state where it can drive, catch the safety car train up, and then box again and keep doing that to keep the lead lap, which is so important in this early part of the race. We do have a wave round procedure, but it won't be for a few hours into the race.
Race control to all teams with an information when the leading car will pass the accident site between turn 11 and 12, all drivers must follow the safety car through the runoff on driver's right between turn 11 and turn 12.
So that's Niels Vitic's voice. He's the race director, massively experienced official, having been Formula 1 race director for a period and lots of other events for the FIA and the DMSB, and he's giving that command to get the cars away from any debris, and we know that the drivers are okay, so we'll start to piece it together in a moment, but the cars needing to be retrieved. Fair play to everybody that's there on the scene so quickly.
Again, the reminder from race control to inform all drivers that they must stay behind the safety car, follow through the runoff between turn 11 and 12 on the far right, because we have recovery ongoing and the track is partly blocked in this area. All drivers must follow the safety car through the runoff on driver's right between 11 and 12.
Which is what you see happening. And there you see how race control and the teams and the drivers work together. We have got, that's Maxime Robin's Aston being hoiked onto the back of the flatbed, so that's our first car looking like it's a retirement.
Yeah, so we're going to get a replay. Look in the top of the shot, the Audi running wide over the curb, then hits the Valkenhurst car. Nicky Thiem did well to thread his through there, so did Dennis Lind. And then it was just really a concertina effect, wasn't it, on that side of the track?
Yeah, Hahn, I think, had already gone, and then Robin sort of arrived on the scene and was confronted with an accident. Let's have another look on board here. So look, you see it all happening ahead. Which way do you go? Others check up. Debris flies. You hope you don't get hit up the back. And by that stage, it's all kicked off. Lucky to get through here.
Really are. And then that AF Course Ferrari, which seemed to do really well, seemed to have some kind of liquid coming out the back and spun on there. So I'd imagine a big bit of debris has gone through the radiator on that Ferrari. And Toledo is going to have to probably bring that car back into pit lane when he can.
So yeah, Ariel Levi had gone wide and sort of harpooned the Valkenhorst Aston, hadn't he, as he came back across the circuit. And I think Hahn went off in avoidance, and then Maxime Robin suddenly confronted with cars. And his has probably taken the brunt of the damage, but the Audi is another one that I think we've lost.
Yeah, I think Hahn might have got rear-ended into the wall because he was checking up, and he didn't want to hit the car in front, but unfortunately got hit from the rear. Interestingly, 34 Valkenhurst back on track. Jamie Day has kept on this lead lap, so the amount of damage we saw on it, they have got it back out.
Now this is on board 93, the Ziggo Sport Tempesta Porsche, and it's just happening, and diving to the right there to get out of all of the strife was Chris Froggatt. And he did an exceptional job there. That's 17 going around the outside, which is the grid-dropped Maxime Martin car. Grid-dropped because it had its times taken away for work being done in qualifying that it should not have had done to it. Well, we kind of expected something, but not there. I mean, all the laps we've seen this week coming through Paul, and nothing like that.
No, nothing. And the high-speed nature I've already alluded to was the reason there was so much energy there. But also on the inside, it's a solid concrete wall. Quite a few years back, Spa seemed to get bored of having to replace the Armco barrier after cars hitting it, so they replaced it with a solid concrete wall.
Calvin van der Linde's BMW there, as it came past the WRT pit, right up against the wall, almost like it had a radio issue and needed a pit board.
Or sometimes the driver, if they think they've got some damage or debris, get as close as they can to the pit wall. And a top team like WRT will have a digital photographer ready to take a picture that the engineers can then review back in the garage to see what the issue may be.
Oh, how times move on, hey? Yeah, good shout. So, can we just have a big cheer, by the way, that number 10 Porsche has not been involved. It's not only done a lap, it's not only done 2, it's now done 3, and that's more than it's achieved in any race this season. And if you think I'm being really flippant and sarcastic, I say this with joy in my heart, because they've had such a tough time, that team, getting the car crashed out at Ricard at the first corner. It was annihilated on the first lap at Brands in the first sprint race, didn't even do the second, was involved in the first turn Monza accident. It was in the wall before the real accident had kicked off. So the fact that Alessandro Giretti has got the car now onto lap 4 is a big win, as you see others coming down the pit lane. Now, not all of these will have damage. There, with front damage, is the Century
all teams.
car.
Reminder, all cars must follow the safety car again through the runoff on driver's right between turn 11 and 12.
I went out to the grid and I tried to watch. There's a little gap in the fence. I can see them go up Eau Rouge, and it's a magical thing, isn't it? I don't mean to wax lyrical about it, because I know you've seen it before, but I haven't, and I was grinning ear to ear.
I tend only to see it from up here, but yeah, I'm slightly jealous of you doing that. Now, you've just seen the WRT team awaiting this car. So Max Hesse arrives, door opens, and Valentino Rossi ready to jump on board then as the Italian clambers in. And you see how well drilled the teams are. This is how you gain seconds on the pit stops. That's Augusto Farfus as well, giving way in the Rover Racing entry. Max Hesse just giving Valentino Rossi a little bit of advice about where the car might be good or where there might be a lack of grip. Just little nuggets like that that are all essential going into your first stint in the car.
It is amazing how much information is relayed so concisely between drivers. You can't hear all that well. You have the engine notes of the exhaust going by. You have wheel guns. You, of course, have a balaclava and a helmet on your head. And you're trying to get in the race car and relay 1 or 2 sentences of what the car's doing, what your competitors are doing. But I think Vale will be eager to get back in the car. You and I were watching along with his last couple laps in the warm-up, and he was plenty squirrely. He was pushing into the final minutes, and the team had to remind him that the goal was to bring the car back in one piece, and he kind of begrudgingly said, okay, all right.
And I know there's dust in the air, and they've got a car with a puncture there by the look of it. And notes where you see the car, it's another Audi. In fact, is that a wheel off or a tyre off the rim? That's got big damage.
It was significantly crabbing and tucked towards that rear left. It looked like there was a significant gap. Let's get a look at it here.
It's 99 again, and it's Alex Arca again. He's already had one puncture, and wheel off the rim, and it then gets hit by the Winward Mercedes that goes into the gravel. That was started, that car, by Renault Salikov, and that's not going to do the front of 87 any good. It's got Gabriele Piana behind the wheel, and a three-wheeled Audi. That's out of the race. That's both the Trezor Attempto cars done within the first hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, you hate to see it as well. We were waiting to see what Audi could deliver us pace-wise. There were glimmers of hope in Super Pole and the rest of qualifying, but that has not gone the way he would have liked. Is parked on the side of the road. Meanwhile, Maxime Martin is caught up in the pit lane.
They have to stay on the left of the circuit, and they are doing a very good job of that. So this is the start of the wave-by. And all the pro cars running line astern behind the safety car have to watch everyone go past.
We've actually got our first car, Basha Maldini, already at turn 7. He took the wave around very literal. He dropped it hot. I think he did everything right because he went when I heard him. The others slightly more hesitant because they were going through a Rouge. Didn't want to get sideswiped, but everyone doing a phenomenal job there, staying to the left and keeping
Wave
this
by completed, pit entry is open.
safe. But
Wave
they're
by
continuing up.
completed, pit entry is open.
Slowed down at an awkward point. I still don't like this car's firing up. Eau Rouge at fast speed, and this could be pretty difficult for a few. Teams need to get on the radio to tell these drivers to slow down quickly. Oh, wow, that is some phenomenally good and bad driving in equal measures, but no one has been collected there. The defence for the drivers is it is a blind crest. So they're coming up there. They know it's a safety car, so they're not pushing that hard, but cars were doing literally 15, 20 kilometers an hour. It looked like walking pace, didn't it, at the top of Eau Rouge, and cars coming through, even at safety car speeds, 120, 130, the legal limit in most countries on your motorways. Then suddenly didn't see it. Everyone did a good job of anchoring up.
Now Nielsen tries to rebuild that lead.
And a 32 machine who came out the pits only up at the piff-paff, so about a half a lap behind this field. Yes, finally on the lead lap, but we'll still need a safety car to squeeze them back up to a position where they can fight.
Right, let's not have another one for a little while, shall we not? We've had enough for now. As there, look, the Porsche of Alessio Picariello has got Marco Sorensen right up behind as the leaders dive up towards Les Combes, and actually it's Fleming on the back of Engel, rather more towy than Engel versus Nielsen. And there for the inside line goes Fleming, and he gets his nose chopped off. That was very close indeed. Maro Engel manages to hang on to second place. There was no contact, but that was by Nat Semi-Crotchet that they avoided it. That really was close, wasn't it? And fourth is still Hungadea, but what a battle.
So often you see the moves like that end in disaster. Very rarely do you see that move work, and especially on someone like Maro Engel. It's almost certainly going to turn in, and Tom Fleming would have known.
Yeah, schooled. Tom, welcome to Maro Engel. Right, so there, the other battle I was going to mention, Alessio Picariello now.
Why not just pace yourself?
True.
At this point, don't put any strain on anything, maybe be able to do a double on the tyres, and it doesn't feel as though anyone here is particularly at the ragged edge.
Is the flip side of that coin, though, that if you do have a problem, you've got no cushion left anymore. So I take your point, but there'll be people in garages. And there's the problem. Nielsen slows right down. Has he got a puncture? I think he has. The car looks low on the right rear, and there's the answer. So Nicholas Nielsen now has got to limp all the way around. This is going to cost him at least a lap, and the lead Ferrari in big problems. Nielsen's had a tyre go pop coming over the line. In a sense, he could have bailed for the other half of the pit lane and taken a penalty, because I reckon that would have been less serious in terms of the time loss than what he's about to incur, because now he's got to do virtually 7 kilometres at a snail's pace. Otherwise, he's going to damage the car.
And you do have temperature and pressure sensors in the car. He would have been able to see something going on, but it must have been pretty instantaneous. Let's have a look here. It's inflated there.
Bang.
And goes straight away, starts to wiggle, he backs straight out of it. It must have been so instantaneous, because a slow puncture you would see in the cockpit, you'd see the number, the pressure going down, and he would have gone for the pits. So unlucky to happen there.
Did he cut it on the curb? Don't think so, but it was virtually as he came to the beam. So 7 kilometres on 3 good tyres. We saw the car squirm, and Nicholas Nielsen limped out of La Source. Everybody streaming past. So Maro Engel is our new race leader. I suppose the other aspect to all of this is, don't forget, they're an old set of tyres. It's not a new set for this stint, it's an old set, and maybe that's just proved it. They can do a stint and 3/4, but not 2. Cup leading McLaren 58 with Amory Cordial's BMW, the WRT car in silver, and that is bodywork flapping. Was that a Porsche? Yes, it was. And that's 86. That's the high-class racing car, which has had the bodywork pop up, but that's bound for the pit lane, surely.
Yeah, I'm just trying to spot if they've made pit lane yet or not. I can't see it on my screen just yet, so
I don't think so.
They're limping round somewhere. They're doing a good pace because they're not standing out on my track map. There they are with the bonnet up. Is that on the exit of Piff Paff? It is. Tipped it in the gravel. I'm not surprised. Hard to see. I'm amazed at the pace this car's doing right now.
But it's Leo Yee at the wheel, and I'm not being flippant when I say this, but if you're sitting low in the car, you can see under it, can't you? You have actually got visibility.
Yeah, it's got a nice arc, that windscreen. I've had a few come up in my time. It's always the corner exit that seems to happen. And yeah, I had a McLaren 571. This is not good. And it's strange that we seem to be able to see OK forwards, but it's the sideway bit that seems more of an issue. And yeah, we go into Blanchimont, needs to stay left.
Bits flying off the car as well. Leo Yee making his way to the pit lane then. So here he comes up towards the chicane, and he has done a good job of staying offline, and he has to eventually move across and get the line for the corner, but he will pit. Now it gets difficult because it narrows here as well, but as we say, you can see through that arc at the very bottom of the screen, and that's fine. Didn't touch the wall, no problem.
You ever played Marco Polo as a kid? That's what I was going to have to do. Marco Polo. But we shouldn't just, because this is going to be a lot of damage. The windscreen's probably caved in, and it isn't going to be as simple as putting that back down.
What triggered it? Did he hit the car in front, or did it just fly up?
It looks okay, doesn't it? And they're going to try and get it down. Really can't see why that started. Fueling going on, so they're going to take this as a pit stop. Tank tape ready. It's bent so much they can't get it onto the pins. My story I was going to talk about when it happened to me in the McLaren is, this is what happened. The team came in, went, yeah, it's okay, off you go. 2 laps later, bang again.
Up again.
And yeah, there's a slight scratch, isn't there, on the front bumper, so maybe, but I'm surprised with the lack of front damage that was the cause.
Yeah. What we really need to show you is what happened. This is the replay of the accident, and just looking to pick him. Oh, just kissed. Right, left-hand wheels just kissed the gravel, went over the curbing, then the Aston Martin whipped around, and rear-end impact. I couldn't really work it. It's actually an unusual one there. People normally have an accident a bit further around the corner after a sort of rodeo ride where they bounce through the gravel. That was just both the left-hand wheels. You know, when you drop over the edge of a curbing, it can drop down a bit if other drivers have already been dipping into the gravel as well, I think. Look at the concentration, the face of Valentino Rossi. We used to laugh because Mirko Bortolotti, we called the man who didn't blink. Whenever it had an onboard camera, we stare in the face, no blinking. Odd blink every now and again, but at night you'll probably blink a little bit more, particularly when you've got those lights bright in your rear view mirror, blinding you. The driver behind flashing, and Jules Gounod's been doing a lot of the flashing. And again, the head-on shot, what can you see as they come in? You see a wall of light coming towards you. As soon as these cars go, it's almost pitch black at that part of the circuit. So a real point of contrast. And, you know, you do something like the Daytona 24 Hours, there's much more light around all of the auditorium, and here comes the Stella Motorsport Corvette just trying to keep out of the way, but he's got Rossi going through. Well done indeed.
Got himself a nice gap in the Gold Cup.
In the last couple of laps, he's gained 1.5 seconds in his chase of Dorian Boccolacci, so he's in 3rd place, getting closer to 2nd. He's still got, you know, effectively 20-odd minutes, maybe slightly more in this stint, so he's going to have to just keep hunting, but Dorian at the moment is 10 seconds down on Lucas Auer. That yellow and green Mambo liveried Team Manfilter Mercedes leading the way. And just remember, that was having such a good fight with the 51 Ferrari, and then, you know, how gutting. To pick up a puncture anywhere around the circuit is bad luck. You're going to have to limp home. To have it just when you've passed, you've got it as you accelerate out of the bus stop, you've passed pit in, and you've got to go the whole way round the lap. That was our race leader. The car number 51, Alessio Rovera, at the moment, down in 22nd position. It cost them just the best part of 2 laps. They're chipping away. They're getting back in the mix, but that's a car that's... It's got the same sort of stint time. In fact, when everyone comes in about 20 minutes' time, he should have 2 or 3 more laps when he doesn't come in, so could rise a little bit further, but a big blow for Ferrari. with that number 51, just looking comfortable, but all the time it was 51 and 48. It was Ferrari and Mercedes. Things have changed. They do change, but you know, as you say, there is plenty of time left in this race. But equally, as we look at Jules Gounod's just not giving up, but there has been no mistake from Valentino Rossi. A couple of little loose moments. Jules got separated a bit when that stellar Corvette was between them in the bus stop. It's tough. You find a car in entirely the wrong place, you lose half a second, and you're coming back. But equally, I think Jules might go, I might run a couple of laps not quite so close, get a bit more air through the radiator, cool the car down, cool my tyres down. This is where experience comes to play. And also, more flashing of the headlights, so Valet must be going, oh, he's giving me a migraine, you know, stop that man.
And he's being very tactful about where he's flashing as well, because Jules Gounod is charging and trying to make the move into the bus stop. He thought he would flash the lights into the left-hander of Blanchimont right before Rossi turned the steering wheel in. Ever the veteran, Rossi undeterred. He has seen pressures before on 2 wheels. He's seeing it more and more on 4 wheels, and he's got a whole heap of pressure behind. Jules Gounod dives to the inside of the source, thinks better of it, backs out of it. He's going to try his run down the Kemmel Straight, or maybe into Eau Rouge, but the 2-car battle has very quickly become a 3-car battle, with Matthias Jalbert rejoining behind. 2 Pro Class cars with the Bronze Cup leader by quite some margin right on the back of him now, but up towards Eau Rouge, through Raidillon, over the curbs and down the Kemmel Straight. Here comes Jules Gounod flashing the headlights. It's a really, really nice run for the AMG, but look at the legs on the BMW, undeterred, and a heavy right foot from Valentino Rossi.
This is the moment I absolutely love. You're the driver, you're coming up here, it's just darkness up ahead of you. You might see a couple of taillights, and then those taillights disappear because they quickly flick through Les Combes, and it's wall of darkness. And, both of these drivers having to use the curves, but how much? Cutting the apex. Oh, and another moment at the front of that BMW, just didn't have the grip that he wanted, but Valentino, did he lift? Did he? Heck. Down the slope he goes to Bruxelles. This sort of double right-hander, but these moments, you double back on yourself, you're dropping all the time, and if you've never walked this circuit, you'll think it looks quite hilly. You walk it, your cars will tell you it's not flat at all. Everything gets flattened by television. Now, half a moment, half a gap, is it for Jules Gounod to make a dive down the inside to Pouhon? That could be messy. The BMW gets through Pouhon, and tucked in behind is Jules, but that Porsche did very, very well to keep out of the way. And suddenly, he had got 1, 2, he had 3 cars coming past, because Mathis Jalbert went through as well. 4th, 5th, 6th, Valentino Rossi, Jules Gounod, Mathis Jalbert, BMW, Mercedes, Ferrari. This is GT racing at its very, very best.
Overall position right now for the number 64, down to 17th. Remember, off sequence, so if strategy plays out in their favor, the car that was once leading, the Ford Mustang, in plenty of clear air. And look at the thundering V8. Little taste of home for me as well as an American native. It sounds great. It looks the part. It just screams red, white, and blue, doesn't it?
It does, and you know, the beauty, one of the many, many beauties of GT3 racing, the engines all have their distinctive notes, and it just adds another layer. You strip away sound from racing, and it's a very, very different game. And that was one of the things I missed most when it was during COVID and having to do commentary from studio, just not being at the track, and that visceral feeling where you're not commentating on this session, you can go and stand trackside. I've still got the passion for it. But look at this. I'll have a look one way, I'll have a look another. Valentino is going to be absolutely exhausted off this. What's the easier role, Hunter or Hunted? Very much Hunter is the easier role. And Jules will be loving this, but he'll be starting to get a little bit fed up. But he knows one little slip up, Mathis Jalbert could fall from 6th to 4th. And that's his intention actually this time around. Mathis just a little bit further back off the tail of that Mercedes, but the Verstappen racing car, well, busy, but this is where drivers will know they've got just under 20 minutes left in the stint. How much of a risk is worth taking? Jules a very, very competitive individual, but he's wise too. Don't crash just now. I've said that, Jules. Keep it on the island. But, you know, he's looking for the moment. But if the moment isn't going to come, you can't force it. But the concentration on the face of Valentino Rossi, just the constant adjustments. Those tyres are starting to go away on him now. And obviously, at this point, Jules is not giving him a moment's peace. And look, there's Mathis Jalbert. Right in the mix of Kessel Racing, and no, he lets everybody flash their lights.
Oh, why not? No quarter asked and absolutely none given here around Spa-Francorchamps. Jules Gounod, one of the most colorful and exciting drivers at the end of the race, but you have to get there, and part of that battle is clearing Valentino Rossi. But further up the field, the overall battle for second has hotted up as well between 2 different class cars. Dorian Bacalacci with that Booston VDS machine running a dazzling second as well, keeping Tom Fleming at bay. He leads in the Gold Cup over the 998 of Tramitz by quite some margin. Tramitz in that BMW down in 7th position. Here's the 52 Ferrari we saw pit off sequence a few minutes ago. It's time for yet another pit stop as well. Pneumatic lines being dismissed from the car. A little hiss of the pistons dropping back in place, and the car is out and away.
A little bit of front bodywork damage, you notice, just underneath the headlight. But that was probably on the opening lap of the race. Exiting Pouon with the field seems to just explode. Ariel Levi dropped it. But now, well, the main gain has been Tom Fleming, just chipping away at Dorian Boccolacci. But the Boots and VDS, again, a Belgian team on Belgian home ground. But right now, I mean, the pace is definitely with the McLaren. Outside, inside, no point. Oh, what? That was really tight, because Dorian had to turn in at some point and very nearly clip the tail of the McLaren. But you know what? He would have had that car small behind him, getting larger behind him, lights flashing, and he made the move. And Tom Fleming is just having the most remarkable race. He's in 2nd place. Right, his margin to the race leader when they crossed the start-finish line was 10.2 seconds. He's already gained a position, but would have slightly delayed himself by going round the source with a very brave and very late dive up the inside. Got the move done. Now he's setting off after Lucas Auer. Give him a lap or two to settle down, and we'll see if the gap's going to come down. You'd have to suggest that it will. That it was all but day done for what was a very fast entry from Garage 59, and the car bearing the number 59. Its sister, the number 58, has been up near the sharp end of the field, but does have a lot of pressure in the veteran Morris Schurig just behind, sitting 3rd in the pro class behind Maro Engel and Fabio Scherer in that off sequence. Helped Racing Team Mustang, and it's come to blows, and a little bit of a late lunge from Morris Schurig into the bus stop chicane. And we talked about it being a clean day. I'll take the blame on that one. The old commentator's curse, spinning on the wet grass and continuing, and that's going to delay him even further. Yeah, just trying to look at the mass. Come on, is he going to hook up? Please hook up. Don't sit in the middle of the track now. Here comes the cavalry, and Jules Gounon is the next car that's in consideration. Raffaele Marcello in 5th, and Jules Gounon will pass that McLaren surely before they get up to the next corner. So one little slip up, and the slip up was not from the driver who got spun. Let's take a look. Move coming up, the dive up the inside, coming. At this point, I don't know where the McLaren is supposed to go, but Morris Schurig up the inside he went. The big problem is the corner bends back on the drivers by about 110 degrees. Your options are quite limited, and up ahead you've got a wall. Yeah, it was a late lunge, wasn't it? But also at the same time, the 58 did close down. I'm certainly not a race steward, and I will not pass any judgment, and I am a lowly commentator, not a racing driver, although it did look to be a late lunge, but a door was closed. Could go either way. Louis Pret, crucially, though, in the context of the race, let's put this back into perspective, loses quite a bit of track position and continues to fall. I hope he does not have an issue, because he is falling further and further back into the clutches of the 10th place Jens Klingmann, which is the rival that he would be worried about. About a 10-second gap right now after 195 racing laps, and he would hope it stays that way, because he's done a really nice job to this point of building that gap and maintaining it along with his Garage 59 teammates. But a little bit of contact can do a number on a race car. Well, entirely, and again, under cover of darkness, it's very hard for the crews will be saying, how's the car feel? How's the car feel? They're looking for moments where it's in a patch of light to see if they can identify any damage from the outside. But we're under full darkness here. I can't see any. It was a fairly light contact, but when the car is already turning in, of course, they pivot round very quickly. I was slightly concerned. Actually, the one bit of good fortune in that moment as Morris Schurig came together with Louis Pret was there weren't any cars very close behind, because when a car's sitting sideways across the track, there ain't much width at the bus stop. And he did manage to get it going, but there was that agonising moment where it just wouldn't move. He thought, oh no. So he got out of the way, and then the grouping came in. In that grouping, Raffaele Marcello, Jules Gounon all over the McLaren as it tried to get going up the start-finish straight. Only a very short run up the hill to La Source, but right now, okay, race is being led by the Ford of Fabio Scherer. Mara Engel is under a second down in 2nd place overall. Then there's a bit of a gap back to Morris Schurig, who indeed did get a little bit delayed in that contact at the bus stop, but he should still be in 3rd place. But keep an eye on the screen of warnings, which is just in front of you there. I'm sure there'll be some consideration of that contact. Almost all contact will be studied by the race stewards. 89 Porsche 911R doing battle further afield, but it is Fabio Scherer, but Maro Engel all over the back. Morris Schurig will be looking to make moves too, and here's that leading trio bobbing this way and that is that yellow AMG. Maro Engel installed, but we're right on board now with the Booston VDS machine, that number 2 Porsche, who is just as close as these top 2, and the front 3 have broken away. One little slip up and you delay the car behind, so the few at the front, they just go just don't trip each other up. They'll come and get us if we do, but if we can get clear, it'll buy us breathing space. It'll also give us fairly clear air. The driver with clear air is Fabio Scherer in the lead of the race. Car in fourth is now closing in again. Dan Harper, remember that name? Remember the straight line speed we saw from the BMWs up through Blanchimont? This is the battle for first place. Again, 3 different manufacturers, 4 different manufacturers in the top 4 positions, and they are starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fifth place car, Danny Juncadere, remember that name? Verstappen racing his Mercedes is giving chase as well. Look to see where the moves are coming. We're riding on board with Maurice Shoring in third place overall. Remember he had his little moment a while back at the bus stop chicane, and it got a little bit busy down there, but seems to be undamaged. Travelling on at very, very good pace there, but it is still the Ford in front. The Ford that was out of kilter got back into kilter in terms of the pit stops and squeaked out in front and is there on merit. But sometimes you have to make your fortune. You have to make those hard decisions, hoping they'd work. Bit of Porsche on Porsche battling there. The Boots and VDS car losing a position or 2 in all of that chasing.
Luca Engstler in that Temerario GT3 still inside the top 20, running a solid 16th in its 24-hour race debut. Further fighting in the bus stop chicane. Everybody trying to take advantage of the first couple of laps under green flag conditions after a lengthy full course yellow for a stricken number 60 Ferrari, but it is Fabio Scherer with the strategy working a treat for the 64. Maro Engel still giving chase. Maurice Shoring, who's dropped another 3 or 4 car lengths back. Dan Harper using a whole heap of curb last time to the bus stop. Will try to get that front engine BMW to stay ahead of Danny Juncadere, who was in the hands of Jules Gounon before, was unable to pass the 46. The 3 has found himself behind the Team WRT BMW yet again, albeit with 2 different drivers this time. Look at all the gravel continuing. The track sweepers were in effect. They were trying to blow as much of that debris off of the racing line, but such is the angst of this field, dipping a wheel off wherever they can to try to use as much of the Spa-Francorchamps circuit as possible.
As little as the scenery as possible, but sometimes the 2 do sort of fuse. But this is an amazing point. When you've had a safety car restart, there's darkness, there's silence, and then you get this flurry of light and the wall of sound comes up towards you. And then they pass. In the blink of an eye, 40 cars have gone past you. At the moment, our race leader is just going through Pouhon, and the last of the train, there's some stragglers who were later in the pits, are just going down towards Bruxelles. So the whole way down that slope, these cars are nose to tail, but it's still the Ford in front, still Maro Engel pushing. But at this point in the race, the Porsche is looking very handy as a breed, as a manufacturer there. Third place, and looks to be the quickest of that trio of cars at the front of the field. But one slip up and Dan Harper will pounce. Remember that BMW in 4th place has all the BMWs to have very, very good straight line speed. So Dan's going to wait and wait. But he won't wait for long. The Ulsterman's going to make the move sometime. But Maurice Shoring is trying to make sure he can get past Maro Engel, who in turn is having a busy day in the office, chasing after the Ford of Fabio Scherer. But no change at the moment. Or no change at the front, but it's not for want of trying.
That Mercedes AMG, like the Ford Mustang just in front of it, able to just stretch its legs a little bit. The front engine cars with maybe a slight advantage off of the corners, but the Porsche, always one of the most nimble race cars on the road, especially with some of the Evo changes. It allowed some of that hot pressurized air to escape a little bit better from the front fenders with some of the louvers. Has really helped its raceability, especially when you are following cars super, super closely and in high downforce reliant corners like you see many of here at Spa-Francorchamps. I suspect that those would really, really start to pay dividends, especially as the air temperature drops ever so slightly. The air starts to get a little more dense. The engines like it, but sometimes not super favorable for understeer.
That is definitely an element that has to be considered. So looking at a replay here, lots of headlights galore, but I think we're about to see a car rotating now. 2 cars together there, and there's the rear end, the window, the engine cover effectively high in the sky.
Time for these. Let's have a look here. It's at 3:40 at the moment.
Oh dear. Okay, now, again, the heat you get in cars, this is how you stop in 56. Well, best to have the right number of wheels, and there is just the proof. Front of the car, dragged along, not very far, but that was enough to set that. Oh, hold on a second, we better put that out.
You can see just how bothered they are about it, how quickly that they are putting this problem. It's just there, the fire, just there, front left, just there, and out it goes. There you go.
Driver still sitting on board.
Yeah,
Those Nork and Hannafin.
But looks like they might make use of the long stop as well here.
Yeah. Well, in their case, they're effectively forced into that situation because the car had to come what may, so you might as well get there.
Yeah, same area as we saw a little bit earlier on, in fact. I wouldn't be at all surprised. There it is, there you go.
Yeah, I'm afraid Sarah appears to have gone around going out of blanchiment and front-end damaged the car.
Let's have a look. This is
Okay.
Sarah Bovey, top of your picture.
Oh.
Oof, look at that.
Off very, very wide, huge speed. The gravel trap slows it down. Oh, the car high in the air.
Impact, yeah.
And that is horrible for Sarah, but the news is she very quickly got out of the car, which we hadn't seen to start with. Had his little... It looks so it's going again now, but that would have been something presumably that happened exiting Radion, and it does look as though it's maybe not quite sitting as it should. Looks as though it's got a front left puncture dragging away. So there.
So we have a slow car now approaching turn 5. The slow car is on driver's right.
Words from race control, just allowing the rest of the field to exercise caution. That is hit something or someone. You can look, that front suspension is not attached as it should be. That wheel bobbling on its own through one of the most difficult corners on the racetrack, and a huge tank slapper that's not where you want to go, wide, and then bang into the outside barriers along the Kemmel Straight. That is a significant whack. Remarkably, could have been a whole heck of a lot worse, and everyone getting out of the way. I don't know how someone didn't run into the back of that Aston Martin, and an even better job for the driver of the 007 to try to get that car home. That is a really, really difficult task for Nicky Team right now.
It is. He was very, very close. He was fighting for 5th place with Arthur Leclerc.
Turn 9 on driver's left.
Okay, that means that he's got past Speaker's Corner. He's got the descent. He's staying on the left-hand side. That's the non-racing line down to Pouhon.
Now entry turn
but the
10,
big question
is,
look, he could hardly be more off the track, but he doesn't want to go too far off track because he doesn't want any more damage to the front left suspension there.
Exit of turn 10,
but that was actually quite incredible. I'd like to see a replay of the replay if I could, because I want to know how close he was to Arthur Leclerc's Ferrari, but also at what point did it snap away. But when it snapped, it went very, very quickly through Eau Rouge and up to Radion. Round it went twice.
The pace was not there for this car, so as it heats up, unsure what track temp is now, but it's going to be in the mid-30s. As it gets back above 40, maybe back above 50, is it going to go away and then go back to the Ferrari? Maybe Lion Speed know that, and now they've got to pounce and get in front of the Ferrari and try and dictate this race. Nielsen looking ever more panicked with the traffic in front. That was too wide.
And he's almost getting crowded out, and the gap's going to open up for the Porsche on the inside, and Thomas Preining has read that beautifully because the road opened up for him. He's got the lead coming out of the chicane, and he's going to go ahead of the 2Cs Mercedes as they come past the pits. So we've got a new race leader, and it's been done on the track, not in the pits. Thomas Preining leads up towards La Source. Porsche leads at Spa now. Ferrari second. Mauro Engel's car is in 3rd place. The Mercedes, which has been dropping away fractionally over the last few laps. But Nielsen, look, he's not satisfied with 2nd. He's right in the wheel tracks. He's going to get a tow heading out of Radion along the Kemmel Straight, and he may well be back in front by the time we get to Le Combe. Let's see, there's a back marker ahead of Preining, the race leader. We're 2nd. We're in the Ferrari. We're heading up towards Le Combe now, and Preining needs to make a decision as to whether he's going to pounce on that slower McLaren. It's James Kell, isn't it, ahead of him in 21st place. So as it comes out of Bruxelles, drop downhill, and Rossi for the moment staying in that 4th place. So as they head towards Pouhon, Engel with the lead coming down, 2.7 seconds over Boos. Nicholas Nielsen dropped back a little bit last time around, and then this is your 4th place fight. Behind them 6th, there's another Porsche, number 2, Maurice Schöring. 7th is Enrique Chavez, Aston. 8th, the Ferrari of Lilou Adou, and 9th is Charles Witz. And we've had the change, by the way, for 10th place. A lap down, but Klingman has got past Farfus, who just does not seem to have the pace, and Farfus losing time relative to the sister car. Now you're looking back at Gouven. What can he do? The answer for the moment is nothing. Rossi able to stay ahead. It might have to be another demon out braking move this by Gouven, either into the chicane or into La Source.
Yeah, and that's where the Porsche seems so strong on the brakes. BMW just able to pull away out the corner, but the Porsche is very quick in a straight line anyway, and then the slipstream effect, of course, starts to help. I think he's too far back this lap for a look into the next brake zone at the bus stop, but maybe be able to close up and then launch her attack into turn 1. Always best to strike while the iron is hot and momentum is with you.
So through the chicane, this is where Guven needs to start the move. He looks quick through the chicane. He's quick on exit. Rossi goes wide. Ienchen Guven now is getting closer and closer and closer. We've seen him do a massive dive up the inside of a BMW. He's going to do it again. Look, switches sides. There's a gap on the inside. Guven on the inside line. He's not cleared him under braking, but he might do the other side of the corner. They're toe-to-toe down the hill. This for 4th place. Ienchen Guven in the black Porsche. Valentino Rossi just ahead. He'll have the inside line at the bottom of the hill, but then as you turn through the corner, it should be advantage Guven. Rossi up the curb. Guven up to 4th. Great racing. And Ienchen Guven yet again proves he's nobody's patsy. He is an aggressive driver. So has that got a puncture maybe? This is Eduardo Cosateng, and there was contact, wasn't there, for the lead of Silva. Salman Ovega getting into him. That was a bit clumsy. He locked up. He's punted the Mustang around.
Look at the rubber flying off as well. It looked like rear left damage on the Mustang, and that's got to be a penalty for the Optimum car, unless he was forced there by the Mustang. Jamie Wall, team manager at Optimum, I think is going to be hurried up to race control to try and provide some innocence why they shouldn't get a penalty. This was the move. What I love from Moscow now, we switch left hard, and that's to get any toe. We're going to give a side draft to the Porsche way.
Up on Bastian Bus, and even thinks about a move on the inside there. The door was open. Guven right up alongside. He doesn't make it work at the first part of the chicane, but here comes another Guven dive, I reckon, down to La Source. The two Porsches all of a sudden are at play. They're going to cost themselves time. Guven on the outside line, but he's not going to go around the outside at La Source, or is he? Yeah, he is. He's going to have a red-hot go. Guven all the way around the outside of Bus. This is for 3rd place. It is just Bastian Bus ahead as they drop down the hill, but Guven is absolutely on it now. He's got his nose in front at the bottom of the hill, and Guven goes up into 3rd place then. So the tipping point for the tyres, but he was nowhere coming out of the Cours Paul Frere, and by La Source and Rougy's through, and now Mosca thinks I won't have an overtake, and he's going to have a go at Stoltz for the race lead. Here we go to the outside. Stoltz gives him just enough room, not quite as contact. There's damage to both, and Mosca's off the road there. Could that be another tyre? Mosca back onto the circuit. It looked a fraction low as it came back on.
I think on reflection, it was the right-hand door mirror that was lost for the 51, so should be okay. And you can see it's now missing a mirror. That's going to be a problem when they get in a fight. For me, Bastian Bus rolled out the throttle, gave the position to Guven because he realises that he's got the pace. But again, it was a real aggressive move from there. But that Ferrari going slightly slow.
I'm worried about the tyre again. I think they've picked up another right rear in that bit of contact. It's going slowly. Look, it's twitching. Guven has gone through. Is it low on the right rear? We need to look at it. It is. It's another puncture for 51. It was the result. Yeah, Boots, and he's winning on stops, and it's been a good stint that by Picariello. Now Boccolacci needs to make the car as wide as possible, doesn't he, to keep at bay Niklas Nielsen.
Yeah, without stating the obvious, it must have been a mega inlap from Picariello time-wise to be able to do that jump. First time we've seen the overcut work as the battle rages on. We've seen this before. It did well and well for the 51.
It's going to work this time, though, because he's through and into the gravel goes Boccolacci. Niklas Nielsen says, I am coming through. Make your own arrangements. And that is exactly what Dorian Boccolacci has to do. So Niklas Nielsen, who, again, is massively irate after the time that car has lost with the punctures, fighting back. Oh, so aggressive. He's won the event before, remember, with Pierre Guidi, with Conrad Edgar, and Niklas Nielsen drops downhill. So he's moved himself ahead of the Porsche. And 51 Ferrari is still, therefore, fighting for honours. They are not letting this get away from them. They've had the pace all race, if not the luck.
Interesting one here. So the Ferrari eases us off the track here. There was contact, actually. Didn't see that from the outboard shot. It's going to go down as a racing incident, but it's not the cleanest bit of driving from Nielsen. Boccolacci gave him respect and space at that point, and then Nielsen decided not to. The contact might just take it away from being a racing incident. It will be investigated. So we're going to the outside. Boccolacci gives us space at this point around the right. This is okay. We then go left, and then we just ease him out. You actually don't really see the contact as much from the 51 there of Nielsen. But Nielsen not as fair with Boccolacci as Boccolacci was with Nielsen.
I also thought I saw something fly from a car, and it looked bigger than a chunk of rubber. So whether that's been a little bit of diffuser from maybe the Ferrari. We'll see. Big slide from the Tsunami Porsche there. Fabio Babini getting a bit carried away going up through the chicane. So Ricardo Fowler 10 seconds clear of Jordan Pepper, but that will be a car to pit. So through goes now Maro Engel. So your lead gap is 22.6 seconds. It's a massive gap over a stint and a stop.
Yeah, Babini in that Tsunami car is going to have to try and stop the tide of these pro cars, otherwise he's going to lose his own pace. And at the moment that car fourth in the Pro-Am battle, so he will be focused on that.
Yeah, they'll come flooding past that Tsunami Porsche very shortly, won't they, the pros? There is 51 Niklas Nielsen, so he's lapping in the 220s. Another heart-in-mouth moment.
I can't do it. It's worse, I think, when you've kind of been in that situation, and when you're in the car, you feel in control. It's like the teammate that's not in the car. It looks worse. I'm sure Nielsen was chilled with that, but just the angle of when it could go wrong, it would just be a plane crash at that point.
Full course yellow, full course yellow.
Happens here. Wow. For me, that's a failure
So
on the rear
just for
left.
info, this full course yellow will be followed by a safety car. I will now send the sweepers and the blowers out as well to remove as much gravel as possible to make sure that the track is in better conditions than before.
Thanks, Niels. But yeah, as he turned right, the left was gone. Was it puncture? Was it suspension? I can't tell. But yeah,
snapped, didn't it?
Yeah, really aggressively as well. The Ferrari's going to be okay, I think, and Engel realises that, eases back over. So now we're going to get an understanding of where the strengths and the weaknesses are for the 51. We're hooking up the curbs nice. This is where we looked last lap. It's not the overtaking. You can see the cars barely lose any speed there. Now diving downhill, we're going to see a difference in line. Front engine Mercedes in front, mid-engine Ferrari, slightly later second apex. That allows us to be further to the right potentially here to carry more speed through No Name down the hill. Engel's right on the edge here, isn't he? Up to every gravel trap. This is really interesting information for Muscat in the 51. He's starting to learn more and more where the strengths and weaknesses are. Strength of the Mercedes there, able to pick up the throttle super early, kicking the dust up in the front. Even as a driver, you sometimes think about, will that just block their radiators and filters? Can I get away with that? Both of them going slightly too deep there, missed the apex. Easily done as a following car. You tend to use their reference of where they brake, of where you brake. So if they brake too late, surprise, so have you. And we're staying a little bit more stable with the gaps now. My second favourite corner lap, Stavolo 2. The jeopardy's so high there now, they've brought the gravel trap right onto the exit. But again, a great illustration of how strong that Mercedes is in Sector 2. And it's slightly stronger in Sector 3 as well. It's really only that first part of the lap that this Mercedes able to stay with, as we had a big moment there by the sounds of the RPM. Big jump on the brakes now. Slow the car down. This is the curb. We smash on the right. We miss it again. Maybe the brakes, front tyre not offering the adhesion we need so much. But this has been a really, really good lap now from Maro Engel, who's just brought that gap back up to just over 7/10 of a second. To this silver Porsche is going to come down as Guven loves that dive bomb. It was so sent.
Oh no! Contact between the two Porsches, and it's almost destroyed the front end of the Boutsen VDS Porsche. So unnecessary. But Ayhancan Guven fed up last lap of his stint, fed up of following that car that was compromising his pace. And I mean, you would never expect it to rip the front end off quite like that, but that's huge damage to the two.
Here's the headlight still flashes. That car's done. There's no way. That I'm still learning my game in what I'm allowed to say in commentary. That was low IQ from Guven. There was no need. The dive bomb was one thing. Then the frustration as he opened up the steering to have the front end of this car. Who's the employer of Ayhancan Guven, do you know?
Well, yeah, he's Porsche. A works driver.
I don't get it. The move is great. It's a dive bomb. It's not the nicest move, but he's there. And then he just runs him out there. He could have kept the steering lock on, in my opinion, and avoided contact. He already had the position, and he's just loaded up, and he's taken that car out. Unless a miracle, they can get that car stuck bound together. So let's have a look. So Guven's on our inside now. We've kind of given up the position. We can't go any further left. And Guven just goes into us. I don't see any twitch. I don't see a drift from Guven allowing for that contact to be acceptable.
In the runoff between 11 and 12 on driver's right.
I think it's lost all power again. It's got no lights.
Yeah, there's an access gate just a little bit further between where it is and the pit path there.
So if I'm a team, I box now. But why? Because we're over 6 minutes. You're going to get a penalty, Joe. Why would you do that? If you get any full course yellow, you can do 65 minutes.
Yeah.
So they're going to box now before that time and before the full course yellow has even happened.
So
But
just
you're
for
gonna
info,
bank
the
on it.
car is now stationary in the runoff between turn 11 and 12 on driver's right. Track is clear. Please respect the yellow flags there.
It's a tough one for race control, this.
Yeah.
What do they do? Do they?
Let's see if people box. I think you've got to take the risk if you're anywhere outside the top 3.
Let's listen in. This could be quite important for all the other teams to listen to as well. Here you go.
Okay, mate, you can try function 7, but the box is full manual. You'll need to use the clutch up and down. Okay, you can try function 7.
Right. So he's now got a manual
Try
gearbox.
function 7. Function is the left rotary on the floor of the centre console. You need to go clockwise, so you see function 7. That's it. Keep going on that. So you see 7. Right, now the gearbox will be full manual. One more. Go one more. There we go. So use the clutch. So if it was a full manual gearbox, see if that shifts for you.
No power, even if I use the clutch.
Copy that. Go to ignition 2. Go to ignition 2.
I don't think I can make it back to the pit speed. But the car is stopping.
Try ignition 2 again. Just go back off on the switch and back on. If you think it's in position 2, move it up to 1.
Well, Sai Sanchez got the car going. It's slow, granted, and it very nearly got clobbered by the Mercedes going through Piff Paff. Let's have a look at it. You see just how crowded it was as all of a sudden they come up on a slow car. Look, the Mercedes completely stuck. Up the inside goes Matty Jobert. He was in the right part of the circuit at the right time. But fascinating to listen. I know it's a little bit in delay, but fascinating to listen to the instructions from the team. And again, how calm and patient they are. Just do this, just do this, just try this. And he's got the car moving. So you were going to box.
Yeah, not the right call, was it?
No, no.
But if you're outside the top 3, you had nothing to lose. But now you'd be in an awkward position. Cars can box and then, well, they can leave the pit lane in the next 40 seconds. So WRT seemingly not going to go with that strategy either. But yeah, the engineer being perfect there, and the car has made it back in a full limp mode.
Po-faced shortly because Guven is closing. Yeah, he's got to get past that McLaren, but you can see they've been through all of this effort and anguish and optimism and heartbreak, and it's not going to be a win for AF Corsa. After everything Alessio Rovera has done, 3 tyre failures, effectively, you can blame.
Yeah, and penalties for that car as well, of course, have hurt it over the course of the race. It could have been, should have been, and I don't think it will be.
Yeah, they got 15 seconds for a full course yellow. They got a 5-second penalty for contact with number 2, and the punctures as well. There, Ricardo Fella, Bastian Bus, settle in, if you can settle, with 10 minutes to go, to watch the pictures, to bite their nails, to barely breathe. A little light on the back of the Porsche are blinking. They're the Lion Speed engineers staring at all of the screens, all of the data. And Thomas Preining will be hearing every noise inside that car.
They've really made their garage quite dark, haven't they? It looks quite ominous. And Preining here, just looking at another AF Course Ferrari, isn't he? And he'll be slightly perturbed by that. But that 52 car in front is on for a class podium, so he's not going to play a silly game, because that is 3rd at the moment in the silver class, 16th overall.
Through he comes then. So, number 80, Thomas Preining, race leader. He's got, it will be about 8 minutes and 35 seconds when he comes over the line. And a lap at the minute is 2 minutes 19. The fans there on the Formula One pit lane, that's where the finish will be, but there'll be another checkered flag the other side of La Source for ceremonial purposes, and then the podiums, of which there are many, will take place in the fan zone. So the cars go into the fan zone itself at the bottom of this straight, just on the left. It's near where the Ferris wheel has been, and that's where the podiums, the 9 podium ceremonies, 10 really, because we have a trophy for the best Belgian driver. That's where they'll all take place. So they flick through Eau Rouge with 8 minutes on the clock, and Ricardo Fella dares not dream.
4 more laps. That's all it is. These drivers in the pro cars, obviously one of 3 of the cars have done 530 laps. So these drivers will have done around 170 laps each. Just 4 more for this car to get to the end.
It's always a big responsibility to bring the car home. I guess it's also quite a feather in your cap. You know, it shows the pace you've got, the trust the team has in you.
Yeah, it's a massive honour, and you feel it across your shoulders. You've got to carry the weight, and all you're focused on is not messing up. But that isn't good enough to be a professional driver. You need to be fast and not mess up. He would say, luckily for Preining, he hasn't had to bring his A game in terms of pace and racecraft at the end of this, but he hasn't put a single foot wrong. Neither have his teammates either. It's been faultless from the whole crew at Lion Speed.
Yeah, looking at our chart of what's happened to cars during the race, all you could argue about is that engine change pre-race. The only other thing that we've had to note, no air conditioning and no drink bottle earlier on in the day for Thomas Preining, but it's just gone round and round and round, which is just what you need, and they've kept out of the pits, they've kept out of strife. He's on 3 track limit warnings, so there's not really a concern there.
Also, fair play to the mechanics for the engine change. It's not an easy job that to change a whole engine at a racetrack, of course, so that install has gone well. Fair play to Porsche for being able to supply engine, fair play for the engine being fast, fair play for it being reliable out of the box. So it actually adds an even bigger dynamic, doesn't it? Not only the pit lane start, I still think it's a harsh penalty, but the whole motor has stayed together.
And some quick maths would suggest that the number 48 drivers, Stoltz, Auer and Engel, only need 2 points across the remaining 2 endurance rounds to win that championship. So this has been another really good bank raid for the Team Manfilter. They might not get the maximum points at the 24-hour mark, but they've done well at 6, done well at 12, and done well, of course, in previous races. Into the chicane they come. Rovera still, as he has done for most of the day, staring at the back of that yellow Mercedes, but neither of them able to stare at the back of the race-leading Porsche. Thomas Preining is already on the run down towards Eau Rouge, the other side of these buildings, the other side of that hairpin.
Guven gap 1.5, 3 laps to go. Could be a consideration. He could be near, but he won't have much time to make a move.
No, he's got to really send it, hasn't he, if he does get near that Ferrari. What about traffic to help the case? Might be possible, but it's not that busy up the road, got to say. And in fact, the next back marker they'll catch is the Winward Mercedes. So if it's going to help anybody, it will be 48, the team car. There is Guven. Head down, keep charging. Enrique Chavez is 7th in that Valkenhorst Aston. The indestructible Aston Martin. Dan Harper 6th, Arthur Leclerc 5th. There's Guven 4th in the black Porsche. This is 3rd, Rovera at 2nd, just up the road. There is Lucas Auer, turn out of Lecombe. 5 minutes to go now.
All the other classes is just eyeballing. Doesn't look like there's a change for a podium position. Optimum will just miss out on the silver class with the 5 car. They're going to end up 20 seconds or so behind that. But the other classes all looking pretty set unless there were an issue.
So downhill goes the championship leading now. GT World Challenge Europe powered by AWS Endurance Cup championship leading Mercedes AMG, Lucas Auer, Lucas Stoltz, Mario Engel set for points. Here is Alessio Rovera still there, ready to pick up the pieces if anything befalls Lucas Auer, but it does not look as though Lucas is going to put a wheel wrong. There is the number 80 Porsche heading then up towards Blanchimont, ready to start the penultimate lap by our maths, I would think. 4 minutes on the clock, and just see where he breaks the beam when the car comes through, but I'm reckoning this is going to be under 4 minutes, so he'd have time for 2 more, wouldn't he? With 2 minutes 19 being the time for a lap.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to spot some damage on this Porsche, considering the amount of cars it's overtaken. Was it 64 cars it overtook to get to this position? And again, that just adds to performance. All the bits of bodywork that get knocked, all the development that goes into the cars, they're all in wind tunnels in development. So as soon as you do some damage, the drag, the aero efficiency drops off. So of course that's going to be a massive benefit of why this car has been so fast, is that they've kept it clean.
So downhill goes Thomas Preining, flicks in towards Eau Rouge for the penultimate time, past the huge grandstand built on the far side, full of fans who've come back for the finish of this 79th CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. As ever, it has been not only a fantastic race, but a massive production from SRO Motorsports Group for Stefan Rattel and his team of Patricia Kiefer, Laurent Gaudin, Sophie Perrin, who works on the event so hard for a whole 12 months, for the entire media team, Tom Hornsby and Emma Spearing and everybody else in the media centre feeding us all the information, and Mike Scott, Ed Kingsford, Richard Hay and West Gillett, who have done a huge amount to make sure we haven't missed a single thing on track, whether it's been in the 24 hours or the support races. 100 people involved in the television production side, whether it's been cameras and riggers, whether it's been the tech team, whether it's been broadcasters, because we've had not only our English stream, but we've had a French, Italian, a German, a Flemish. I think Japan have done it off-site as well. And so 100 people, 10 different nationalities looking after the television side of all of this. And shall we give a hat tip as well to Niels Vittich, who has not left the race control room for over 24 hours. He's kind of become an honorary member of the commentary team as well. But Niels Vittich and everybody in race control as well deserve a big round of applause, because they've run a complicated race very well indeed. And thanks for your company, whether you've just joined in now, whether you've been with us all the way through. It's been great to have you with us for this latest outstanding CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. Through the chicane goes the silver leading Ferrari of Alessandro Balzan. We've got just under 2 minutes to go. That means there's less than a lap time left in the race.
Is there anything left drama-wise of this race? Is the Lion Speed car just going to cruise round, enjoy the sights, take in the scenery for what could be the biggest victory of that quite young team's history so far?
Bastien Bousse, 23 last week, is going to be the youngest overall winner since Jules Gounon, who was 22 in 2017. For IGTC purposes, this is the first time Maro Engel and indeed Maxime Martin won't win this year, as there the leading Porsche starts its last lap. Bastien Bousse was Porsche's best place driver prior to this. The gap between him and Engel will be 21 points, but as Engel's not racing in IGTC again this year because of DTM commitments, this car and Bastien Bousse as a driver could become IGTC champion. 15 of the top 16 in the race are IGTC point scorers, only the Aston Martin not eligible for that. So as the Porsche comes up the hill for the last time, Thomas Preining, Bastien Bousse, Ricardo Feller are set to win this year's CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa.
The car has just looked so poised, hasn't it? From the first 6 hours onwards, looked okay in the opening part of the race. The team looking on. It will be the longest minute and 40 seconds from this point onwards as they wheel that car down all the way.
Race control to all teams. Just for info, we have a car stopped in the shortcut in turn 9 on driver's left. Please respect the yellow flags. Other than that, track is clear.
Looks like 32 BMW. So out of 8th place, Kelvin van der Linde has stopped. It's just sort of the corner before this, at the top of the hill, Speaker's Corner, as there, Ricardo Feller and Bastien Bousse. Talk about going and sitting in a dark room when things get stressy. That's exactly what they've done. You're right. They've locked themselves away. We look for the Porsche. Where is it? Number 80 into view. So Thomas Preining is going to bring it home, and it's hard here to run out of superlatives for an astounding job from the back of the field, from the pit lane to start off with.
We've never had a car from that far back, have we? I believe 29th was the lowest place we'd had a winner before. So this has really upset the record books, and it's going to be a hard one to beat. 64 positions gained for this 80 Lion Speed Porsche.
There is a checkered flag at the line, but then there'll be a ceremonial one the other side of La Source, but it's the one coming out of the chicane that matters. It's going to be a first Endurance Cup win for Lion Speed. It's going to be a first GT World Challenge Europe win for Thomas Preining. It's going to be a first CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa win for Thomas Preining, Bastien Bousse and Ricardo Feller. Porsche wins the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa. Lion Speed GP from the pit lane start brings it home as a race-winning team. Second is going to go the way of Lucas Auer, Maro Engel and Lukas Stolz, and third to the number 51 Ferrari of Alessio Rovera, Tommaso Mosca and Nicholas Nielsen. Fourth over the line, Ian Schunguven in the Porsche he shares with Matt Campbell and Fred Makovici. What a race and what a result. Ricardo Feller, Thomas Preining, Bastien Bousse, the winners from Lucas Auer, Lukas Stolz, Maro Engel, and then Alessio Rovera, Tommaso Mosca and Nicholas Nielsen rounding out the podium. Fourth, Ian Schunguven, Matt Campbell and Fred Makovici. From Lilo Wadu, Arthur Leclerc and Sean Galisle. Valentino Rossi was sixth along with Dan Harper and Max Hesse. shake my head again. Jamie Day, Christian Cronjes, Enrique Chavez 7th after what that happened to the Aston on the opening racing lap. Maurice Schuring, Dorian Boccolacci, Alessio Picariello 9th. Picariello, the best Belgian to win the Paul Fred Trophy. 9th, Augusto Farfus, Jake Dennis and Raffaele Marciello, the first car a lap down, so 8 on the lead lap, and 10th the winning bronze, Dustin Blattner, Ben Tapp, Matthew Schurbert and Dennis Marshall. 14th the winning silvers, Rafa Duran, Dylan Medler, Alessandro Balzan and David Perel. And the best of the Pro-Am entries was in 29th place, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, Prince Abubakir Ibrahim, Jordan Love and Ben Green. And the winning gold, 11th, Ugo de Wilde, Tim Tramnitz and Jens Klingman coming home victorious there. We started with 69 and we're still awaiting final confirmation, but I reckon it's going to be 44 classified. The question mark's about number 32 BMW, which stopped on the last lap, and I need to double check when I get a moment whether you have to take the checkered flag on the road. As a driver, look around you. As a team owner, you look around and you see just who you've beaten. That's AF Corsa over there. They've won Le Mans, for example. They've won this before. That's quite a scalp to claim.
Massive, isn't it? Can't be many team owners that have raced in the Spa 24 when their team have won. Can't be many team owners that have finished on a class podium when their team have won. That is an amazing feat.
And there, the race winners' trophy to this year's victors, to Thomas Preining, to Bastian Buss and to Ricardo Feller, the CrowdStrike 24 Hours of Spa winners for 2026.